The globe, the universe, has been here for 13.8 billion years. The universe. Much of that time, there were no human beings. There were all sorts of other creatures. But the human beings emerged 4.5 million years ago. Now, when the human being emerged, he was faced with two problems. Problem number one, oppression by nature. Nature is always causing problems to man in the form of drought, in the form of locusts, like the ones which are threatening to come here, in the form of floods, in the form of landslides, in the form of earthquakes. That's why our people had all these names, Musisi. You can see the villagers were intimidated by the natural phenomena, the natural events. Musisi. Musisi means the earthquake. It's a name of a person. I don't know why they called it a name, whether to stop it or what. They can tell us why they were calling these people Musisi. Because Musisi means earthquake in Uganda. Musoke. We have a Musoke here. Didn't we hear? One of our people. That is the rainbow. The rainbow. That's the Musoke. So these natural phenomena, many of them were a problem to man. But man, being an intelligent animal, unlike the other animals, started thinking of solutions to deal with these phenomena that were confronting him. That's how, 1.5 million years ago, he invented fire. The invention of fire was a big revolution. "12,000 years ago, man invented agriculture. Instead of going to the bush to look for food, you can now grow it here. You could domesticate seeds and plant them. 15,000 years ago, he had learned how to domesticate animals, cows, and goats, and so on. About 3,000 years ago, he started using the iron tools. And Africa, the states we had here, the chiefs, whatever you call them, the clan structures, took part in these inventions. The Africans invented fire, they invented agriculture by themselves. I don't know who started first, whether it started in Iraq or wherever, but we were able to achieve those historical revolutions independently by ourselves until the Iron Age, the invention of iron. Now, the problem of the Africans, of us, starts about, because all these years, 4.5 million years, when man is doing all this, he's using muscle power, the human muscle, the hammer, the blacksmith using the hammer, wielded by hand. He's using the hoe, he's using the panga, all wielded by human muscle. The women tie children on the back, find children riding on the back of their mothers. The pot, going to the well to collect water in a pot, and swab, all human muscle, human muscle, human muscle. Or in some areas, animal muscle. In some areas, they were using horses, oxen, donkeys. But the problem which Africa has been having starts about 1440. 1440, a German man called Gutenberg invents a printing press. So now printing is no longer by hand writing, but by machine. In 1698, another man called Thomas Savery invents a steam engine for pumping water. Then in 1800 something, another man called Stephenson converts the steam engine to pull the train as a locomotive. So, for the last 600 years, some parts of the world shifted from muscle power to machine power, while we here in Africa remained with muscle power, largely. Secondly, in the 10th century, the Chinese invented gunpowder. But the Chinese did not use gunpowder for war. They were using it for amusement, as fireworks, to make fireworks. But the Europeans soon picked it up and used it for war. So you have now two powers: machine power, gunpowder power, in the hands of some people, while we, the Africans, we are still with muscle power. That's where the problem has been. Now, because of that gap, that technological gap, we get colonized. We are taken into the slave trade. Many die. Some of the people disappear completely. Some of the people disappeared. If you go to America now, some of the regional people are no longer there. The original people of the Americans were the Red Indians, but many of them are no longer there. If you go to Australia, the original people are no longer there. There are new people there. But we, the Africans, we don't die easily. So we survived, and here we are. But we survived with a distorted structure of society, a stunted structure. The Nyankore word for stunting is okuningama. When somebody should be old, he's still young. Yaningama, kuningama. That's a stunted growth. Because, you see, with the hammer, you can produce, the blacksmith can produce 1 hoe per day with the enyondo. So that means in a year, he will produce 365 hoes if he's working every day. But with the machine, you can produce 10,000 hoes in a day. So with the muscle, production quantities are very small. With the machine, you now go into mass production. So therefore, in Africa here, we remain with the society of low productivity. Low productivity. And when you have got low productivity, it also affects the society. Because if you are going to have mass production, that means you need a lot of workers to come and work in these machines. So you create an industrial working class. People shift from agriculture and come and work in the machines, factories. But then you also have another class, because these machines, in the case of Europe, they were also managed by private people. It was the private sector which was making these innovations. So you also have another big class of the middle class. So you have 2 new classes which never existed in human history. The middle class and the skilled working class in the areas which went through the machine revolution. That's what they call the industrial revolution. The first industrial revolution, second industrial revolution, the third industrial revolution. The society metamorphosed. Metamorphosis is that process in biology where an insect changes. It's the same insect, but it changes form. From egg to caterpillar to pupa to butterfly. It's the same insect, but it has changed. Here, there was no social metamorphosis. You did not get a middle class. You do not get a skilled working class. You remained with peasants and with feudalists, these who fall down, and the feudal system. And the artisans, the blacksmith, the one who is making 1 hoe per day. But anyway, we survived, because Africans don't easily die. We survived because of we survived, but also there were other reasons. And eventually we got back our freedom. Now, if you get back our freedom, we are now trying to jump on the bus of history, because the bus of history bypassed Africa for the last 600 years. History has been passing. The bus has been passing. We are remaining here, the bus is going. The question is, what can this new state, because that's how the new state of Africa comes now. The new state, not the tribal state, which failed, those tribal states failed. Not the colonial state, which was our enemy, but the new state of independence. What is its historical mission? its historical mission is to make the Africans jump on the historical bus which has been passing them for the last 600 years. Now, if you don't do that, then you have failed in your historical mission. Now, therefore, the attitudes, and of course it's not only the judiciary, the political class must know their historical role. That is the two sides, the executive and the judiciary. Now we, the freedom fighters, we said, we studied all this. That's how some of us left the old parties, because we were part of those old parties. But in the 1960s, when we saw through the exposure we were having, we said, no, this is a death trap. We must cause the social transformation of this society here. And what do we need to do? And we should change it through production, because you cannot change the society through talking. We must make them get involved in modern production of wealth and creation of jobs. And what does that mean? It means that these fellows, all these Ugandans, and the other Africans must get involved in the 4 sectors that we identified. Agriculture. They were in agriculture. The Africans were in agriculture. But they were in agriculture. Do you know people called Abagwere? Have you ever seen a Mugwere in your life? Let's see whether there's a Mugwere here. Please stand up if you are here. Don't mind your lordship. Stand up. That's how the Mugwere look like. Now, these Bagwere have got a beautiful way. They speak our dialect, but in their own very funny way, which I like. When I went there, they talk of okukorera ekida kyonka. Okukorera ekida kyonka. Working only for the stomach, but for them, the stomach, they call it echida, which is actually a very good description. Because the others say enda. In Runyankwere, you would say okora enda yonka. But for them, they spoil it completely and say okora. And that's why I liked their description. They said okora echida kyonka. In Luo, we say, teach, mecham, keken, working only for the stomach. So the Africans were in agriculture, but they're working only for the stomach. What we call in our language, in the English language, subsistence. So that revolution, we had to make sure that these fellows who work for the Echida Kyonka in agriculture must work for the Echida, but also for the pocket, for the money. They must be commercial. It's a big struggle. Because here in Africa, fools don't die. You can be foolish and you still survive. In Europe, if you are foolish, you die. Finish. In no time, you stay outside, you freeze and you die. The issue is resolved. But here you can be foolish. You just depend on your parents or on your relatives. You roam around. Somebody just comes and says, where are you going? You say, I've come to see you.
you.